very small parking lot situation.
So we don't currently allow storage units in general business?
Correct. At one point, they were. It is no longer the case. So we do have some that were built back when. Now, currently, storage units can only be built in light or heavy industrial. So your first issue would be a rezone. There'd be some spot zone concerns because you'd have general business. But is Sioux an appropriate place for commercial? Maybe eventually. Right now, I mean, we're kind of undeveloped-ish there, but yes. So storage units, allowing them in GB would take an amendment, and whether in the past you all haven't been the most comfortable with that, and it was changed for a reason, but we figured we would bring it up just because discussions are good.
So the storage units west of Casey's there, that was built when it was allowed in general, is that general business? Is that what that's zoned?
Yes, that's my understanding. I don't have the file in front of me, but we think so. We think it used to be likely, probably a permitted use. Maybe it was a conditional use, but yes, it is general business and there are storage units there. If for some reason something came through and wiped them out, currently they would not be allowed to rebuild, but yes, they exist and it's general business.
And those to me would be a traditional storage unit, a steel building, you buy a kit, you bolt them together. We would be doing more of a 4-foot frost footing. It would be connected similar to our old Fit for Life office. Lap siding, they're going to they're going to hook to the structure and match the office is my goal. Whether I use, start out using 2 of them, eventually use 4 or 6, it would just depend on the setbacks and the rules on how many we could even, how deep I could go. Maybe they can't all be connected. Maybe I need to, put some setbacks between a few of them. But my fear would be to build something up along Sioux and then have a giant backyard. I'd rather not, I guess. I'd like to utilize it. And same down on Ironwood. That's fairly deep as well. I think a couple 100 feet possibly.
Yeah, there's also some back on Chestnut. I think that's the most recent one that I know of that was built. That was new construction and general business, was the one on Chestnut. A lot of people don't even know that that's back there, but it's all internal facing. All the doors are kind of a donut shape and all the doors are on the inside.
Where's Chestnut? Is that oh yeah, that was part of the first East Brandon phase or whatever by Sunset or Summer. Yeah, it'd be similar, something like that. And I think they have a little office in there of some sort too for leasing those or renting them.
The other option, if this is something we want to consider, would be we could dictate the size, that it's not a large scale.
Right, yeah, height,
facility.
we'd be looking 9 to 10 foot ceilings on the office and, same on the garages. I think Alliance just built a building as well, kind of behind the post office. They're storing some trucks in there and maybe equipment. I happened to be here for that meeting. I think there was a variance due to the odd shape of the lot. Or maybe it was the access point because of the post office. But didn't they just build like a 3 or 4 car garage kind of right back there? Yeah, and there was something with their alleyway. And that was granted. I believe they've built a nice building there with, lap siding. So I wouldn't be looking to go traditional storage units with the, the metal roof, the metal cheap roll-up doors. It wouldn't look like that. That's not who we are. But again, we've been here. We're coming up on the end of our 5-year lease. So, I've been leasing for 15 years in Brandon. I think it's time. We're not going away. I have probably a decade left to develop that area behind me. because unfortunately I'm unable to build homes for 425 to 475,000. And I believe that. Trust Rob can vouch. So those guys coming in and doing that are coming out of Minneapolis. Historically, they haven't been in Brandon, and here they are. So it gets tougher for us custom home builders to compete and to create a product of that, let's call it caliber, if you will, or quality. But anyway, I guess my story is my theory on that is we're not going away. I mean, I'm gonna have to stick this out, and to build, nice move up single family homes, it's gonna take a while, especially if someone's coming in putting up 56 units in 2 years. I can't compete. So anyway, we don't want to pay rent anymore. We want to get closer to our work. And I think the next step would be a rezone application, which would be the next meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
If you're interested in a rezone, yeah, it would take an application and a fee and published notice, public hearing, so depending on where it falls, but usually takes about a month from when you file the application to the public hearing, and then planning and zoning would go through their concerns about, is it the appropriate use for where it is it a spot zone, is it that kind of thing, and they certainly don't have to weigh in on that now, because it's more of a matter for the public hearing, but there probably are some issues to work through on a rezone as well, just because that's
Right.
how the game works.
Yeah, and I would want to go talk to both the neighbors over there as well, or all 4 of them, and just say, hey, please come to the meetings. Nobody likes to be blindsided with this stuff after we're breaking ground or to the last reading. That really trips people's triggers. So I was a little reluctant that this was even on here, thinking, geez, I haven't even spoke with my neighbors, but I would like to do that and get them involved as well.
Is Allison's Dance Academy, does that have, did they come in for anything to have that? Because
They have a home occupation, I think.
Because I know there was a motorcycle shop in there before making choppers, and I don't know how it all went down, but I know they got pushed out of there from what I heard.
Okay. I don't know, we don't have the file in front of us.
I'm just saying, what I was getting at was I was looking at why did the chopper shop get put out, and then all of a sudden a dance place can come in and have a business run out of it, is what I was getting at. And then your sake to back you, for having a business down that way.
I mean, I looked at Odico, that was recent, and they aren't necessarily renting out units. I don't even know that I could or would, but they go quite a ways back, and they have, side load doors where they're utilizing and parking their equipment, and I suppose doing some woodworking or whatever out of there. But anyway, that's kind of what we're thinking, and more than likely gonna file for a rezone on those 2 chunks, which then I would have to create a parcel. Is that how that would work, Patrick? So right now they're unplatted, if you will. They're just part of that overall 40 acre or 24 acres or whatever that's what's left there in phase.
If you do apply for rezone, staff would prefer a platted legal description. As you saw with Russ, they do have a meets and bounds description. We prefer the platted lot more, just because otherwise you have
Yep.
an amorphous box.
Yeah, so once I come for the rezone, I'll bring some more information and exhibits and
And of course, as is always the case, just you can apply for it, but planning and zoning and the city council will make their determine whether it's appropriate and all that kind of things. But you certainly can make the ask.
Because right now we don't allow storage units in general business, would you still rezone if we don't approve storage unit in general business, would you still want to have that as general business for an office?
I mean, the goal would be to have an office with a little bit of frontage, you know, on a busier street, yet make it cohesive with the neighbors that are there.
Because if we discuss having storage units in general business, that process might take a while.
Yeah.
But if you're still gonna go through with the office space, that is probably worth your time to get started on that and then see where we go with the storage units, but.
Yeah, and again, I mean, my office will have some sort of storage on it. I mean, we already were in a shop condo. We've walled off and created a garage, you know, as part of that giant overhead door. And then we have office space behind it. But I can, with all the stuff we have packed on all three walls, I can only get one truck in there. And so we'd like to get, you know, 3 or 4 in there if we could. So we're going to have something probably similar to Odie's. I won't need the height, probably more like fused, and maybe deeper for more garage space for my own. But I'm just thinking I only need maybe a third to a half, maybe half of that, depending on setbacks and parking and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, if I can't get the storage units, I would still come for general business for office.
That's
If
just
that
kind of my
makes-
point. If you wanted to move forward with this, with the office space, you know, you can apply for the general business. I didn't want to get the cart in front of the horse because it will probably take, if you've been to these meetings, it takes a while for us to get anything done. So I don't want you to think that we're going to have the storage unit things figured out next meeting.
No, that's why I'm starting now. I know how this works and I appreciate your guys' work. You know, you guys do a good job and I saw your hard work today. It's not easy to work through that stuff. And so that's why I want to get started. Our lease is up. I think we signed December, so it'd be December of 26. So I know this is going to take a year plus. So here we are in July.
Well, thank you for getting ahead of it.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do it next week, that'd be, but
No,
Good.
nothing works next
Yeah.
week in my world.
yeah, ours did either.
No. So I appreciate Patrick even putting this on here. And again, we'll just continue down this road and see where we end up with it.
Sorry to put you at the end of the agenda. I could have moved you up. I didn't realize you were here for that, so sorry about that.
Again, I mean, I like to hear that other stuff too. You guys worked hard on that. And I mean, I see Mike's point about, you know, maybe a buffer, R1.5, but as a developer, it is hard to build R1 80-foot wide lots. And that was discussed 7-8 years ago. You know, all of us builders brought in examples. Hey, we can easily build on a 66 to 76 foot lot. And believe it or not, to get that 1 or 2 extra lots in there keeps the price down 10, 20,000 a lot. And so I do appreciate, you know, listening in on all that. So, yeah.
All right, do we have anything else for the good of the cause? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor? Opposed? All right.
We are adjourned at 8:16 p.m.